Hey there. So my next guest was actually really interesting because he reached out to me and he asked for a phone call just for some advice. And I got on the phone with him and like he realized like at that moment who I was. He's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. This was so cool. And like I was able to get him on the show. We were able to talk about the projects he's working on. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. To have a very special guest with us, I have Mark Ford with Project Genesiz. Hey there, Mark. How's it going?
I'm doing well, Bradford. Thank you for having me come on.
Absolutely. So where do you hail from, Mark?
So I have been born on the East Coast in the nice, subtle town of Virginia.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So, Mark, why don't you just go ahead and get us started? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So a little about me. I've been a big gamer since childhood. I started off with Halo, the Nintendo 64, and just grew up with just playing video games. I never was a traditional learner. I usually learned just through unconventional ways. I learned different concepts through just playing games, through sports, watching films. I always found an unorthodox way to learn. And just growing up, I have always had a passion for gaming, from RPGs, Dragon Age Origin, and I always love marketing and business. And with that being said, I started a recent channel called Project Genesiz, which I'm really focusing on just taking passion and turning it profession. And I just love doing things I love. I love talking about and creating content to support that theme and give back to my community.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, I know I've already asked you one question, but we're going to ignore that fact. I'm going to ask you my first question that I ask every guest. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, Mark?
I'll say I'm a high 10. And if I could say 100, I'll probably say 100.
And why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I can say I just feel like I just stand out, because I always do things in a weird way. And I think a lot of my friends a lot of my friends just call me different, and I just stay true to who I'm self. And I try to be truly authentic to who I want to be. And sometimes that's very different and most people don't see, because I'm very outgoing to the point where people are not used to the kind of conversation I'll bring up. And I'm very engaging. I do things my own way, but that makes me kind of unique to who I want to be. I always want to stay true to who I'm self, and I guess that makes me feel very weird, because a lot of people look at me like, why is he so loud and outgoing? And then everyone else is very quiet. And I just want to be loud and outgoing. I can't say anything about that. But yeah, that's.
In other words, you're a happy-go-lucky person. That's weird for some reason. Yes.
And then the caveat, and I'm a happy-go-lucky person, but everyone who looks at me thinks I'm just shy and reserved, and I don't smile, but they don't know half of it. They don't see that the outgoing side I really am, because it's just I just get it's a weird dynamic people are just not used to. So I just stay to what they think, but reality I'm super weird, and I'm happy to live it that way.
Beautiful. All right, so this is the Gamerpreneur. You've already kind of given us a little bit about your background, but why did you start playing video games? What resonated with video games that got you into it?
I guess it was very challenging. I always loved challenges, which to test myself. And when I played, for example, when I played Halo, I never played a campaign first. I was playing multiplayer with friends and family, and get my ass kicked every single time really just want me to learn, try again. And over time, that my competitive side just want me to try another game, so try another difficulty. And then I just started, and then eventually this became, I enjoyed storytelling and stories. And when I played games, it just gave me a platform to really just show a different side of me, and as well just really have time for myself. And that's what led me to enjoy video games.
Fantastic. All right. Do you have time to play? What do you play now?
So the games I play right now, that's the question you asked?
Yes. What do you play now?
So the only game I play at the moment is League of Legends. It's been a game I've been playing since 2009, and like I've been playing that for the longest time. I used to play console games, but since I switched over to PC, I have only really been playing League of Legends, and I just started TFT actually and Overwatch. So I'm trying to expand my new PC games. I just love League of Legends, and I just can't help but play that more.
Fantastic. All right. So Project Genesiz, it's a channel on YouTube, you say. Now, can you describe that a little bit more for me? Like, what exactly is that?
Yes, of course. So Project Genesiz is we talk to executives, professionals behind the scenes, your art directors, your creative directors, financial specialists, those who like most people in my generation doesn't really get to listen to as much. And we want to learn about their story, who they are, what they did to get where they got to. But what we really want to hear is how they took their passion and turned it into a profession. And that's the theme of our channel. And what we want to do with that is we want to give that back to our community. So helping my generation, those in high school, learn that there's always another path for your career, and you don't have to stick to a traditional way. If you want to say you have a passion for gaming and you have a skills in accounting, try to take accounting into like a gaming org or like a gaming company. Like you're not limited to just taking your accounting skills to an accounting firm. And we just want to open possibilities for our generation and show that you can take your passion and turn it a profession, and there's always a way to do it. We focus on esports, pop culture, technology, entertainment scene, but we really the biggest thing we value is just giving back to our community and showing there's always a new way, and there's always ways to take passion and turn it into profession. And that's what Project Genesiz stands for.
Beautiful. All right. When did you first start this?
So we actually started this during COVID. Me and my good friend Kevin, we started working on this back in early March. And over time, we released our first episode a few weeks back. And just during COVID, me and him, we didn't want to sit around doing nothing, but we also wanted to take our interest and give them to the community, our passion for like asking the right questions and having great conversation. And that led us to creating the channel. And then we took a spin around and like, we want to do something very unique, but also just try to find a way to maximize our time instead of sitting around and watching Netflix every day.
Okay, and that's fantastic. I absolutely, the COVID was a perfect time to start something. Let me kind of dig deeper into your thinking about why you started this. Because I mean, you're sitting around watching Netflix with a buddy and you like, hey, let's do something that'll benefit others. Like what pushed you to do that?
That's a good question. So yes, we started this channel back in March, but this has been something I've been thinking about internally for years. I just never took the push to do it. I've been so focusing on doing like a 9-to-5 job, working multiple part-time. So I never really got to push myself to do it. And then during COVID, when I was talking to Kevin, and we say, you know what, screw it. Let's just do it and let's actually start really doing something we want to do. And well, the biggest thing is we just wanted to really do something meaningful for our lives and do something meaningful for the people that we know in our community. And that's really what our thinking was. And as we were talking, debating, we were just, what one way we could take his skills in interviewing. He had a podcast originally. How can we take my creative spin and the way we want to give back and create conversation, and then find a mesh. And then we trialed and error after a few conversations with professionals. And over time, we found our identity. And since then, we hit the ground running.
Fantastic. All right. So what is it like starting a new channel? I mean, obviously I've done it. This is only like 6 months old myself, but for my audience, what's it like? You've only been doing this for a couple of months to find guests, to come up with questions, that sort of thing.
It actually is very challenging. There's a lot of small things you don't take in consideration. Like I remember when I first started the channel, like I was trying to find out why I cannot upload my own thumbnail. And like, wait, I was like, it didn't make sense. I was clicking on it, then I realized I needed to go to like separate part for the website. So I realized there's so many little small things for YouTube that I was not aware of. And like, it seems so easy watching like YouTubers, like watching videos like on my phone. And then like, as I started, it was just, there's so many little small things for it, and it's a lot more difficult than I expected. But at the same time, like, it just makes it more fun for me. Like I mentioned before, I love challenges, and it's been very exciting. And the biggest thing I took away from it is just, you just have to really stick with it and be willing to understand, like, you're not going to do really well the first few months. If you do well, that's great, but you have to have the persistency to stick with it and just put in daily work, and then over time it will pay off. And that's a model I live by. I just focus on my daily habits and what I need to do daily, and over time I believe that all will add up to make things well. And that's what I really been focused on when I started doing the YouTube. Is that's the biggest thing I had to learn the hard way. But now that I'm starting to doing it, I'm starting to see the benefits of constantly working on it and just not giving up.
That's wonderful. Okay, so what are you learning about yourself and your ability to be essentially an influencer through this process?
That's actually very interesting. I guess is I didn't realize just how much like what you do for your content you produce can have on someone else's life. And here's an example for me. So I'm half Filipino, half British, so I have family in the Philippines. I showed my channel to one of my cousins, and she looked at it, and like, you know, like I had like only like a few subscribers when she first looked at it. She was so proud, and like it really, and she was telling me so many good things, how it really just made her really proud of who I was, and then knowing me and being related to me, and then it wanted her to just like follow her passion and do more things, align that. And I saw this, that even if you're not up there in A-listers, B-listers, even like if you just started, but you just doing something, your actions can really influence someone who hasn't even started. And that's something I didn't even see until I saw it right in my front of my face. And I also had a few other occasions like that, but it's just every little thing you do that's following your passion, it seems that it really can inspire someone who hasn't started chasing their passion. And that's what I've been learning about influencers. Like, what you do, what you might think is like very easy and like very like average and normal, it can be really amazing and eye-opening for someone else. And that's what I learned during this process.
All right, that's great. Okay, so you're a part of a team on this one. What unique skills are you bringing? Because you mentioned creativity. So like, what exactly does that mean?
Okay, so for my team are very technical individuals. My team focus more so on the editing, the structure, and the social media side. What I bring to my team is I focus more so on the vision. I consider myself more of a visionary individual. I try to see what ways I can take ideas, concepts, and find ways to create a vision that we can build around it to really improve our brand, include other individuals, other brands, other influencers, other channels, and find ways to work together to find ways we all take value from it and all we can move forward and work together. And also, I've been in the food and beverage industry for 6 and 7 years. So I'm used to working in relations and communications, and that's been one of my natural strengths. So what I bring to my team is my background and experience in working with building relationships, building with partnerships, building with partnerships with brands, helping bring people on my channel, talking to individuals. I do a lot of the network. I do all the networking for my channel while my team helps me work on the structure. So that's what I bring to my team.
All right, very nice. Okay, so you've been doing this for about 3 months now. What resources are you turning to in order to learn how to do this process?
So what I am using is Skillshare. I am also watching diligently other podcasters, all YouTubers. For example, I watch how Joe Rogan really just talks conversation with individuals, and then I watch him, like, his character, how he talks to people, how he engages with them. I look at Sean Evans from Hot Ones, how he interviews other individuals, like the type of how he asks such questions. Like I watched some videos on his process on how he researches individuals. I also read a lot of different books. I just try to take inspiration from any source I can who's working with other people and find what ways can I learn from them and find ways to apply to me. And that's been the biggest resource I have with just watching and being a diligent student on those who are creating content, whoever they may be.
Okay, fantastic. So you said that you've been you found your voice after a few attempts at interviewing people. What do you wish you had known when you first started this?
When I first started this, I wish that's actually a good question. I guess the biggest thing is just having confidence in myself. And that's the biggest thing I will say is like this being able to believe in like who I am. Because like when I first started, I knew I had the skills for it, but I just wasn't confident in like what I can do. I thought it was too big and too over top of me. But what I realized is not that case. I just had to, once I started believing in myself, things worked out a lot more smoother and a lot more easier for me. And that was one thing I wish I'd known before, that having confidence for this type of content is so important. And it makes a huge difference.
Oh, confidence is like number one. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to ask that like typical interview question. Where do you see this in 5 years?
In 5 years, I can see us partnering up with brands that I watched as like growing up like the past few years. Like I can see us working with like some of the bigger influencers. Like I dreamed of like being able to work with like Mr. Beast on a community project, working with some of our favorite streamers. And the biggest thing I can see our channel is doing is we have created a community of creatives who listened to our podcast and our episodes, who took their passion and turned it into a profession. And we have a wonderful community that helps and support each other. And we are hopefully like we hit the like 1 million subscribers. That'll be amazing. But like I think beyond that, like I don't really mind like wherever our subscribers are, but as long as I see we're helping other individuals, like if I can help, if our channel in 5 years, if the only thing we have accomplished is we build a community that is helping my generation and those raising up, I'll be happy. And that's the biggest thing I wish to see in 5 years is we have a community that helps each other, that they took their passion, turned it profession, and now they are also helping others do the same. And then I can take all this case studies, all this performance, and give back to schools. And I hope in 5 years I want to be able to be working with schools, in particular with providing like summer camps, resources, courses, anything I can do with what we have done and all the information I have gotten from talking to the professionals, and just giving back to the community as much as I humanly possibly can in 5 years.
Brilliant. That's a very admirable goal. Rock on. Okay, so I'm going to pull back for a second because I believe that we actually don't learn a lot from our successes. Well, you may, but I think we actually learn far more from our failures. So this is the part of the show where I'd like to ask, what is something that you have failed at? And what did you learn from it?
So what I have failed at is rejection. I think rejection is the biggest thing I failed at. And I give an example. When I was working at like a financial firm, in my first year, I got rejected way more times than I can count. And that doesn't relate to what I'm doing now, but what I got from that is just being able to talk, like try something out and like dealing with rejection. Like how do I emotionally handle it? Do I just stop? Do I just keep moving? Like what do I do? Like I can't, like before, like that was my failure. I just didn't know how to handle rejection and having people tell me no, or like go away, and like talking bad at me, like saying I did not do a good job. All those rejections are stuff that I failed at my first year, but over time I started building more confidence. I put more, I guess, a thick skin that I didn't let people's opinions really affect me, and those failures of constantly being rejected. Over time, I started enjoying being rejected, and that became something I prefer people rejecting me more so than saying yes. because as I get more rejection, I got more stronger. I learned more, and my failure of being rejected not just from business, but just any rejection I've gotten, just really helped me grow. And rejection was probably my biggest failure I dealt with in the past 2 years. And I also would say that's probably became my biggest strength too.
All right. Thank you for sharing. All right. What is something that you're working to improve on in yourself today?
Being able to speak with empathy, and also being able to listen to what my team individuals tell me, but they don't verbally say it. I'm trying to learn how to listen to their nonverbals, listen to what they're truly trying to tell me in order so I can help communicate better. Because communication is everything, especially if you're doing content business, whatever you do, communication is the most key thing. And for me, that's what I'm really trying to learn on and work on the most, which is why I signed up for Toastmasters yesterday to try to work on my communication and take it to another level.
Okay, brilliant. I have done my share of presentations on the Toastmaster agenda before, so I get it. All right. Mark, this has been absolutely fantastic. How do people find you? Where are you out in social media?
You can find me on Instagram on the Project Genesiz _forward. And then you also can find me under my personal Instagram, which is the Positive Mark.
Beautiful. Okay. So as we wrap this up, is there any last thoughts you want to share with us, or anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
No, I think it was an enjoyable experience. And all I can say is this, I enjoyed the process, and just enjoyed just being on this other side of an interview and actually being the one asked the question instead of asking the question feels really weird, by the way. I'm still trying to process this, like me getting asked the question instead of I can ask it. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun today.
Absolutely. Well, Mark Ford, thank you so much for coming on. We genuinely appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to remind everybody, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.